So, as Sarah said, it's not a presentation of a paper or a separate topic, it's more sharing some observations about the topic about a project I am responsible for the macro environment for Isrāīliyyāt and Adyan narrations, and I want to share with you the problems I have, because it's not so easy to define and to say this is an Isrāīliyyāt narration and Tabari narrated it from this source or from that source. So the problem is because of the Quran. So because of the style the Quran narrates, the Qisasul Anbiya, etc., about his elusive style to tell a story from a wider perspective, but to build bridges, to remember the first addressees, to use some motives or some parts of the whole story, for example, creation story or the story of David or Solomon known from the Bible. So therefore we have a lot of, in the Quran and therefore in Tabari's work, a lot of verses about, or narrations about Jews, Christians, and other religious groups. So you can skip this. So, for example, about the creation, you can see this is the 7th Surah, Surah Al-A'raf, verse 189. It's about the creation, and in the Quran it's clear here. It is who did create you from a single soul, and then we have in Tabari's work, no, it is not from a single soul, it is from Adam, it is a extra information. So what we do with this information? We can say that this is Isrāīliyyāt, because Isrāīliyyāt, the connotation is about Bani Israel, but means every we can say it is very easy to say it, but I'm trying to explain it. Every non-Quranic or non-Islamic narration which we can find in Jewish, not only in canonical Jewish, also in apocryphal or other Jewish and Christian sources, which is not in the Quran, and in these sources, which the Muslim exegetes, especially here Tabari, used to explain the Quran. So if we say this, I mean, we can say it and we can just try to figure it out, which more information are given, because the Quran is only talking about the creating from a single soul, and in the Muslim sources we have a lot of extra informations. So the problem is which narrations are exactly Isrāīliyyāt, how we can describe or define it, and to which religious tradition these narrations belong to. It's not only Jewish and Christian, and which are the potential sources. Is it possible to say Tabari have had contact to a Syriac scholar named Mar? I don't know. So this is very difficult. We didn't have it now in our website, but we will write in the text to give information and say, okay, according to this method and to this works, for example, my dissertation is one of the text or one of the works which will help to understand what we are doing. So we can there say, for example, one of the potential sources of the Isrāīliyyāt narrations is the Cave of Treasures. Belongs to the Syriac Christianity, one of the most important sources, and we can trace. It is very interesting about the Cave of Treasures, and we find a lot of motives from the Cave of Treasures, which belongs to Syriac Christians, in Tabari's Tafsir and in his Tarikh work. So we can try to. This is one of the things we did. You have, for example, Isnad, and you can just choose this Isnad, and this is, for example, interesting. When this Isnad came, this is I forgot to write here, the path, the way to the Cave of Treasures. when we have this name and a term like Adam, Eve, Iblis, Shaitan, a term about the creation, it directly takes us to the Cave of Treasures. So this is what I did in my dissertation, but this is a thing we can't say that it is always like this. This is only a way to show potential sources of Taberi, and you can just go further every name and look. Is there a relation to Syrian Christians? You can work on a map. We'll do this after. I don't know how much time we need for this visual aspects, but at the moment we have this. So this is the problem about the Isrāīliyyāt. This is one problem. The other problem is, normally we think we have to figure out, when we talk about the macro-umfeld, macro-environment, we don't have only Israelite narrations. We also have, for example, descriptions from Taberi about Christian groups or Jewish groups. For example, about East Syrian Christians or West Syrian Christian Jacobites and Nestoriya, for example. And these narrations are not Israelite narrations. These narrations we call Edyan, just to make it easy. It is Edyan. And even this is not enough. We try to make more categories to describe it or understand it better. We separated, we said, we have names of persons, characters, or tribes, prophets mentioned in the Quran. 2 minutes? 3 minutes? Okay. Prophets mentioned in the Quran, but there are also prophets not mentioned in the Quran, in Tabari, like Shid, Yusha, Caleb bin Yafuna, Shaya, Daniel, Irmia, Aikuk, etc. So this is important too, but we have to make a separate category or subcategory for this. The other thing is we have not only, we call it human names, we have other names, other human names, but also non-human names, or other names we know from other traditions. So these are other subcategories too. And about the ancient tribes, there are a few tribes and we categorized it differently. So about the religious groups, I just took only the example for Christian groups. It's not easy to say, okay, when Tabari is talking about Yaqubiyya, these are the West Syrian Christians, and the definition Tabari's view about this Christian group is not like we know it from Christian sources. So it is difficult too, and therefore we just try to make more subcategories, not only Yaqubiyya, Nestoriya, Nasara Najran, Nasara Bani Taghlib or Malkaniyya, but other subcategories for this too. And this is the last slide, and we have also other categories in the area of Adyan: rituals, locations, economic, social, and political issues, and this is a little bit the area of Sada, juridical practices, terms, Adyan, Meher, Regime, Ashur, etc. So we try to understand Tabari good, and therefore we have a lot of categories. And I just wanted to share some observations. I hope I'm good in time.
You're good in time. We could still talk 5 minutes if you want.
It's enough. I'm ready.